So in previous lecture, that is in lecture 6, we have discussed the regulatory framework. Chapter number 7, the agenda for session number 7 is chapter number 7 and 8, that is introductions to clearing and settlement system. Now few of the aspects as such you are already aware. Clearing members, how many types of clearing members are there? I think in previous lecture we have discussed, and even in the subject FDRM also we have discussed. 3. Very good, Kirtan. Which are the 3? Which are the 3? Self-clearing member, right, very good. Trading cum clearing member, self-clearing member, and professional clearing member. Right, good. So these 3 types of clearing members are appointed by clearing corporations. We are aware about that. Clearing banks. The major role played in clearing is by clearing banks. What is clearing banks? Clearing banks are the banks which are authorized by clearing corporation to do the clearing. Clearing banks are the banks like ICICI, HDFC, all banks, right, which are authorized by clearing corporations. Few branches. If ICICI Bank is authorized as a clearing member, it doesn't mean that all branches of the ICICI Bank will do the clearing work. Designated branches of the selected banks will work the clearing, will do the clearing work. Clearing work means if you have sold the share, then money will, in T+2, fund will come to your account. From where it come? It come through the clearing banks, because money transfer related work will be done by bank only. Security transfer related work will be done by these depositories. So 2 major agencies: depositories who deposit, who do the debit and credit of security, and clearing banks who do the debit and credit of fund. Is it clear? Right. Clearing member eligibility norms. Okay, good. The eligibility norms for clearing member: net worth 300 lakh. This 300 lakh is for trading cum clearing member and for professional clearing member. For self clearing member, it is 100 lakh. See, members who clears and settle only deals executed by him is rupees 100 lakh. It means for self clearing member 100 lakh, for professional clearing member and for trading cum clearing member it is 300 lakh. Deposit of rupees 50 lakh to clearing corporation. What this point wants to say कि अगर आपको clearing member बनना है, then which are the norms? तो पहले तो आपकी 300 lakhs की नेटवर्थ होनी चाहिए अगर आपको ट्रेडिंग कम क्लियरिंग मेंबर बनना है या प्रोफेशनल क्लियरिंग मेंबर बनना है. अगर आपको सेल्फ क्लियरिंग मेंबर बनना है, देन इट शुड बी मिनिमम 100 lakhs. सेकंड पॉइंट, डिपॉजिट. सिक्योरिटी डिपॉजिट आपको 50 लाख की रखनी पड़ेगी क्लियरिंग कॉर्पोरेशन के पास, हु इज अपॉइंटिंग क्लियरिंग मेंबर. मीन्स क्लियरिंग मेंबर की इमीडिएट अथॉरिटी है क्लियरिंग कॉर्पोरेशन, उसके पास 50 लाख की सिक्योरिटी डिपॉजिट रखनी पड़ेगी. Additional incremental deposit of rupees 10 lakh for clearing corporation for each additional trading member. It means 50 लाख की तो रखनी है, चाहे आप ट्रेडिंग कम क्लियरिंग मेंबर हो, प्रोफेशनल क्लियरिंग मेंबर हो और सेल्फ क्लियरिंग मेंबर. But you also need to give additional 10 lakh for each trading member you are adding, that professional clearing member and trading cum clearing member can do. Students, are you getting me this third point? Right, trading cum clearing member, good Kirtan, trading cum clearing member can do clearing of other trading member also. So for adding each trading member for clearing, you need to pay you need to have additional 10 lakh rupees deposit apart from that 50 lakhs. Clearing mechanism क्या है? It is explained over here with very good example. Let us try to understand that one clearing member's outstanding positions will be calculated in which way? One clearing member's outstanding positions is calculated in which way? That is explained over here. Suppose trading member, that is suppose two trading member, one PQR and XYZ. We called it MSFL, Sher Khan. These are brokers. So one broker, second broker. Suppose these are the two brokers. Proprietary means brokers have taken their own position. 5,000 long, sold, 3,000 short. So their net position is 2,000. Let us understand first of all for only PQR, that is one trading member. They have one client. Suppose Alpesh is one client. Buy 3,000, sell 2,000. So Alpesh net position is 1,000. Client 2. Let us say client 2 is Kirtan. His trading member is PQR, who has taken long position in 3,000, short position in 1,000. So his net position is 2,000. Is it clear, this first line? How the outstanding positions is calculated, on which margin, deposit and everything will be required. This first line is clear. This example is about one broker whose open position, how the open positions or the settlement will be done. So broker will trade for himself, that is known as proprietary position, client 1, client 2. So see, proprietary position net 2,000, client 1 net 1,000 and client 2 net 2,000. So total 5,000 long 5,000. Is it clear? Good. So see, it is put up over here for clearing member. Clearing member A. For clearing member A, it is put up. Suppose this PQR and XYZ are the trading member under clearing member A. So for clearing member A, from PQR, 5,000 long position is open. Now let us see this XYZ. Again, Nifty October contract. So contract wise it will be different. So calculation doing manually, it is impossible. It is all this calculation is done through system only. Okay, 5 students are there. Which are the 5 students? Avni, Hitesh, Kirtan, Ones. Okay, only 4. Ones may join from 2 systems. Okay, also ensure that you will give your attendance. Yeah. So XYZ proprietary position 1,000 long, 2,000 short. So net 1,000 short. That's why it is written in bracket 1,000 short. Client 2, 2,000 long, 1,000 short. So 1,000 long is the net position. Client 2. Suppose client 1 over here is Hitesh and client 2 over here is Jogeshwari for XYZ. So 3,000 long, 4,000 short. So minus 1,000. So what is the net of XYZ broker? They are trading member, that is broker. The net is long 1,000, that is coming from client 1, short 2,000, 1,000 from proprietary, 1,000 from client 2. So see over here XYZ 1,000 long, 2,000 short. So total, what we can say clearings need to be done by clearing member A. You need to be take short position for 6,000 long position, and you need to take long position for 2,000 short position. This much mechanisms or clearings need to be done by clearing member A. So what this whole section is all about? This whole section is all about getting the outstanding or open position of any clearing member. So to know the open position of any clearing member, you need to know the open position of trading member. To know the open position of any trading member, you need to know the open position of each client under the trading member, as well as trading members himself trading open position, that is proprietary position. Is it clear, students? See, these all are, it's such like a legal term that these are this, you have to read and you will get this information. But this is very important if you will apply for any of such job, right? Then you will have such questions. Just 1 minute, student. Okay. Okay, now let us move ahead. Settlement mechanism. So how? Clearing, that is recording the transactions. We have discussed a number of times. Clearing. Clearing means just recording the transaction. Suppose I have entered any order and that order is executed, then it is the responsibility of my trading member to clear it through clearing member. So that is clearing. And settlement means when I will close my position. Suppose I have taken long position, so now I will take short position. So once I will close my position, who will give me the profit or loss? That is known as settlement. So trading, clearing, and settlement. Trading we have done in previous lecture. Types of order and all, how to enter order, how the trade will be done, best buy order, best sell order, that we have discussed. So over here, settlement mechanism. Cash settlement. We all are aware what is cash settlement and what is physical settlement. Cash settlement means only profit or loss. See, the settlement by payment of difference. If you have made the profit, then only the amount of profit will be given to you, not the underlying assets. Underlying assets will not be transferred. Let me say I have taken long position in RIL future contract. I'm giving you an example. Suppose I have taken long position in RIL future contract. So long position means buy. So if I will actually get the, if my intention is to actually get the RIL shares as per this contract, as I have taken long position, agree to buy, then this is known as physical settlement. But if I am only taking this position just to get the advantage of price differentiation, then it is known as cash settlement. So in stock future and stock option, cash settlement is available. Physical settlement in both stock option and stock future is also available. Cash settlement in stock option and physical settlement for stock futures, and physical settlement of stock options and cash settlement for stock future. So what is this over here? Basically, the importance is what is cash settlement and what is physical settlement. I hope all of you are clear. What is cash settlement and what is future? What is this physical settlement? Okay, good. Settlement schedule. As such, we have learned that settlement schedule is T+2. This is in cash market. Cash market means buying and selling of share. In buying and selling of share, there is T+2. But in derivative market, the settlement is T+1. Is it clear, students? In derivative market, settlement cycle is T+1. So here it is written The settlement of trades is on T+1 working day basis. Members with a fund pay in obligations means आपने कोई contract, okay, if you have taken position in any contract and as per that contract you need to pay some amount, then you need to be ready with that amount by 10:30 a.m. on T+1. It means if I have taken any position in derivative today and any payment required for that position, so that need to be ready by 10:30 a.m. next day. Is it clear? Okay, it's this all are book concept. Let me tell you the reality. It's such this all are book concept. No one will allow you to take the position without fund and give you the chance that you can deposit the fund on 10:30 a.m. next day. No broker will give you this opportunity. This is just the rule. That what will happen if by next day 10:30 you will not deposit the amount? Are you getting me, student? So nowadays, in reality, particularly if you have this your trading and demat account with these new age brokers. New age broker means this Zerodha, Paytm. They required full amount while entering any order, whether it is cash market or derivative market. If you want to purchase the share of 50,000, first 50,000 must be there in your trading account. Then and then they will allow you to enter the order. Forget about T+1 or forget about T+2. Forget about all the margin which we are going to learn now. In future contract, suppose to enter into the future contract by amount of margin you require 20,000, that 20,000 must be there in your account while entering into the contract. While entering the order, forget about the contract. Whether your order will be executed or not, that is a different thing. If it will not be executed, then your amount will be released. But once you enter the order, your amount will be deducted from your trading account balance. Student, is it clear? Are you getting it? Right. So whatever we are learning is there in the books, but for the safer side, the rules are something else. Just 1 minute, student. Yeah. Settlement in future contract on index or individual security. Future contract means how the settlement is done in future contract, either index futures or individual security. So future contract, both the parties of the contract have to deposit margin. We all are aware, right? In future contract, both the parties need to deposit margin. Yes or no? While entering into future contract, any type of future contract is there, long and short position both need to deposit margin. We have also done lots of calculation.
Question, sir.
Yeah, Onesme, any question?
Yeah, I want mean is any difference between margin and premium?
Yes, Onesme, there is lots of difference. Margin is this security amount, we can say, which you may give it to you, but it is your own only. Just for security purpose, you have given that amount. and premium is your expenditure. Premium is your expenditure, which is there in
Okay,
option
sir. I
contract,
get you. I get it.
right?
Yes, sir. Thank
In
you.
our, let me give you one very simple example. In our university, while students take admission, I don't know about your fee structure, Onesme, because you are foreign student. But if I would like to talk about Kirtan, then Kirtan need to pay two types of fees. One is tuition fee, that is expenditure, which he will not get back. It is the charge for getting education. Charge is for getting education. And second types of fees which Kirtan has paid at the time of admission is deposit. So this is called margin. This deposit is collected so that Kirtan will not harm the infrastructure of the institution. If Kirtan will not do anything bad during this 2 year time period, then he will get this amount back. Is it clear? So that is, this deposit is margin. So same way over here, in future contract, both parties need to pay the margin. So future contract have two types of settlement. The M2M settlement, which happens on a continuous basis. You know what is M2M, am I right? Mark to market.
Yes, sir.
And the final settlement, which happens on the last trading day of the future contract. So either last trading day of the future contract or when you will close the position. So two type of settlement. One is mark to market, that is continuous. Every day your position will be closed at the closing price. And final settlement will be either on the last Thursday of the month or when you will close your position before the maturity. Is it clear? Okay, so this mark to market, final settlement, that we need not to discuss much more. So this was the topic is settlement of future contract either on index or on individual security. So how the settlement of future contract is done, that is now clear, I think. Two types of settlement in future contract. One is M2M and second one is final settlement. Now this second point, settlement of option contract either on index or on individual security. Is it clear? This heading now for option. So again for option, the first one is daily premium settlement and second one is final settlement. Settlement on option contract on index either of the option contract of index or on individual securities. Are you getting this heading, student? Previous one was for future, this one is for option. So again, Onesme, in option contract, the long position need to pay the premium. So that is daily premium settlement. Right? If you have taken long position, it means you have paid the premium. Suppose by taking 10 rupees premium, you have taken long position. By giving 10 rupees premium, you have taken long position. So now if you want to close the position, you need to take short position. It means you will get the premium. So if the price of this premium is increased, let us say 12 rupees, then your daily premium settlement profit is rupees 2. Then your daily settlement profit on premium is rupees 2. And if suppose the demand of that option is decreased and now that option is traded at rupees 8, then your daily settlement profit by premium is decreased by rupees 2. Is it clear? Because as you have taken long position, you need to take short position. If you have taken short position, then you need to take long position. Good. So daily premium settlement, and second one is final exercise settlement. On the day of maturity, if you will exercise your right, then you will make the profit accordingly. So which that profit will be collected from short position and given to long position. If you will not exercise your right, if you are not in profit in option contract, you will not exercise your right. In that case, the contract will be closed. Contract will be expire unexercised. So that is final exercise settlement, that is profit or loss on maturity. Yeah, this is not much more important. You just go through that. Now let us see how the settlement price. We use the word settlement, settlement, settlement. We know there are two types of settlement. One is daily, that is M2M. So see over here, daily, daily, final, final. In case of, this is in case of future contract on index or global index individual securities. This is unexpired illiquid future contract. Then final settlement. So daily settlement means mark to market settlement, and final settlement means settlement on the day of maturity. So what is the price? Which price is taken for daily settlement? Daily closing price of future contract on the trading day. Means we have as such already done the calculations of the margin. The problem of margin we have already solved. So you have idea about it. Let me give you one example. Suppose you have taken long position in Nifty at 15,000. Now on Monday at the end of the day, the same future contract is trading at 15,200, then your daily settlement price is 15,200. If on Tuesday it is trading at the closing price is 14,900, I am talking about future closing price, not spot market closing price. Then the daily settlement price is 14,900. Is it clear? So it is such very simple and logical. I'm giving you one simple example to understand again this daily settlement. Suppose, Kirtan, you have purchased a share at 100 rupees. If you want to know at 6 p.m. what is the value of this 100 rupees, what will be your base? At 6 p.m. if you have purchased, let us say, share at 1 p.m. Right, very good. Honest me, it is closing price. Honest me, not 110, it is closing.
Yes,
right? Because if we talk about 6 p.m., it means market is closed at 3:30, and the closing price of that share is your current value. So same way, daily settlement is done at the closing price of the future contract. And if what it wants to say illiquid means if any share is not traded, if any future contract is not traded, then how to get the closing price? In that case, theoretical price. We have already used this formula and calculated theoretical price or not? I think you are solving such problem in assignment. Future price equal to spot price into e raised to RT. Right, Avni is doing assignment very well. So she is able to recall. And for final settlement price, closing price of the relevant underlying, it means spot price. Last Thursday of the month, which price is considered as the settlement price? Means your settlement price means your profit and loss is calculated at which price? On last Thursday of the month, your profit or loss, if you have entered into future contract or option contract, which price at which price your profit or loss will be calculated? Again, closing price, but Kirtan, closing price of spot market. Obviously, the closing price of spot market and future market will be same on the day of maturity, but it is spot price. Is it clear? On day-to-day settlement, again I am repeating, your profit or loss, which we called, which for which we are using the word settlement, is done on the basis of closing price of that particular future contract on that day. While for calculating final settlement or final exercise price, in case of future contract settlement, in case of option contract, final exercise settlement, the words differ. It will be done at closing price of that underlying assets. Is it clear to every student or any doubt?
Okay, sir. There is somewhere they say it is the closing, the average of last 30 minutes of closing day. You get me, sir?
Where it is written?
I don't know, but
Yeah, you are right. You are right. Over here it is written half an hour. So instead of closing price,
yes.
instead of closing price of a future contract shall be calculated on the basis of last half hour of weighted average price of such contract. So we are using word closing for our understanding. Even in the subject FDRM also this term came. If when this paragraph, whatever the content, the highlighted content which I have highlighted and visible on your screen, when this will make difference when in last half an hour the prices are dramatically changed. The prices are dramatically changed. If it is not changed, if it is trading the way it is traded regularly, then the volume of this trading is at that much large that it will not make any difference. That's why usually we speak the word closing price, but it is not actually closing price, it is actually last half an hour trading weighted average price.
Okay, sir. Thank you.
Right, sometimes if it's happened that in last 5 minutes some news came and due to which price crash like anything or price goes up like anything, then it will shows you unnecessary profit or loss, because this is not actual profit. Daily settlement means it is not actual profit, it is just the book profit, unrealized profit. So not to show unrealized profit or loss too large, weighted average price is used. Is it clear, students?
Yes, sir. Thank you.
Okay, good. So now clearing, there are three tasks of the clearing member: clearing, settlement, and risk management. So clearing is just recording. Settlement, how the settlement is done, that we have discussed. Now going to risk management, risk of default, there are many. So how the risk is managed, the big responsibility of managing the risk is given on the shoulder of clearing member, who are again one company. So what is the guarantee that they will manage the risk properly? Can I be clearing member, or can Avni or can Kirtan or Jogeshwari or Onesme be the clearing member? Yeah, students. So can any, yes, Kirtan, no. Why no? Over here it is mentioned. Stringent requirements of capital adequacy for membership, financial strength of member, help in risk management. And second one is clearing corporations charges an upfront initial margin for all the open positions of a clearing member. How to calculate the open positions of the clearing member we have seen today only at the starting of this lecture. So one is capital adequacy requirements. Second one, all the trade which are cleared by clearing member, they need to deposit margin. Although they are not doing trading, margin is asked from them. Actually, this margin is coming from there only. Clearing corporation ask for margin from clearing member. So clearing member ask the margin from trading member. And finally, trading member ask for the margin from client like you and me. Is it clear? Third point. So these are the main 2 points actually on which the whole risk management is done. Risk management means performance guarantee. If I have taken short position, then what is the guarantee that I will fulfill my obligations? In option contract, we have seen that short position has unlimited risk and limited profit. So who will guarantee that unlimited loss? That short position, just by taking a margin, will face the unlimited risk. Why he or she will face this risk management mechanism? Adequate amount is collected from them as a margin, so that even if they will default, it doesn't make, because margin amount is there with the trading member, clearing member, and clearing corporation. So what should be the amount of that margin? When it should be collected? Which are the different components of the margin? These all are the part of risk management. So the open positions of the member are settled on M2M basis that we have discussed. Online position monitoring system, clearing corporation, that is NSCCL. NSCCL have online monitoring system that at any point of time, every clearing member, every trading member, and every client have how many open position. Suppose Kirtan, you and me trading in FNO, our detail is available with clearing corporation NSCCL, that you and me, we are not breaking any limit. The limit set for individual. Same way our broker, trading member, is not breaking the limit which is given to trading member. It is coming in this chapter only. This we called position limit, which we called position limit. Then clearing member is not closing his limit. So online monitoring. Trading terminal helps clearing member to monitor the open positions of all trading member, clearing and settling through him. Means trading terminal will take care that all the trading member, that is brokers, will not cross the limit which is given to them. So these are the main 5 points which will help the clearing corporation and clearing members to manage the risk. Apart from that, these 2 softwares are there. We have discussed, I think, about this. Parallel risk management system, SPAN, parallel risk management system, PRISM, and standard portfolio analysis of risk, SPAN. Have we discussed it in first module or not? First module, FDRM. I think these two words came at that point of time. Parallel risk management system, PRISM. Standard portfolio analysis of risk, SPAN. Students, one thing I forgot to ask you, your mid-one result is declared? All subject exam is conducted or any subject's exam was pending? Okay. So other subjects result are declared, right? Okay, good. Okay. So SPAN is developed by Chicago Mercantile Exchange, CME, USA. This software was developed for calculating the initial margin. What should be the initial margin? For that, the SPAN is there. Standard portfolio analysis of risk. Why the margin on future contracts are less compared to any particular stock future? Why the margins are different in stock A future contract and stock B future contract? That depends on the volatility in that particular share. Higher the volatility, higher the amount of margin. So how it is determined? It is determined using this software. Initial margin, you all are aware what is initial margin. The margin, upfront margin we can say, which you need to pay at the time of entering into contract. Student, is it clear? Initial margin. Okay, good. Premium margin. Premium margin is also charged at client level. The margin is required by a buyer of option till the premium settlement is complete. Till the premium settlement is complete. So let me explain you this premium margin. Suppose you have taken long position in option contract. Long position option contract needs to pay. If you are taking long position in any option contract, either call or put, what you need to pay? Very good, Jogeshwari. Premium. But as per the norms of stock market, premium need to be settled on T+1. As I have already said to you, that nowadays no broker is allowing you to pay anything on T+1 or T+2. As such, you have to pay while entering order into the system. But we are learning as per the system. So this premium will be debited from your account on T+1. What happened till T+1? Students, are you getting my question? What happened till T+1? Yes, Onesme, any question?
I was saying at T+1, it happens settlement or
Yeah,
clearing.
settlement. Right, clearing. It means actually premium, suppose you are taking position today, then premium will be debited from your account tomorrow. Right? Now, if tomorrow you will not pay, then so that's why those who are taking long position, they need to pay premium margin. That is security money for paying the premium. That need to be maintained till T+1 only. That need to be maintained till T+1 only. Because on T+1, your premium is going to be debited. Then you don't have any liability. because you have taken long position. Is it clear? Short position need to pay margin because they have obligations. I am talking about long position. I am talking about premium margin. Are you getting it or not? As such, I am again telling to you so that you will not get confused. Even in future, anytime you will not realize that sir have taught something else to us. Suppose Haley is there today in our group, then she will say, sir, I haven't paid premium margin when I have taken a position in option. Why you haven't taken a premium? Why you haven't taken a margin for the premium? Because at the time of entering into the order only, suppose premium is rupees 10, then he has already paid that full 10 rupees. Now no need of paying any margin. His amount in his account 10 rupees is already there, and it is already deducted by her broker when she entered into the contract. So no need of premium margin. But if you don't have rupees 10 in this account and you want to take position in option contract, then the concept of premium margin will come into picture, which will be something less than 10. Is it clear? And as such, as I have told to you, that nowadays broker will not allow for these things. Broker will allow for full premium. If you have premium, then take a position, enter the order, otherwise your order will get rejected outrightly. So that is premium margin. These clearing members need to maintain the exposure margin, that is for open position. Whatever the open position they have, for that they need to pay the exposure. Open position means exposure. You need to pay the margin 3% of the notional value of future contract. In case of option, it is charged only on short position and is 3% of the notional value of the option. Obviously, in case of option, it is only for short position, because long position doesn't have any obligations. Only short positions have obligations. So future contract, both position, option contract, only short position. Client margin, obviously all these clearing member intimate all members of the margin liability of each of their client. So clearing corporation insists the margin norms on clearing member. Clearing member insists for that margin norms on trading member, and trading member insists that margin norms on client. So finally client, that is investors like you and me, need to pay the margin. Now coming to the next concept, cross margining. Any idea what is this cross margin? Okay. Let me give you an example. Suppose underlying assets is RIL, Reliance Industries Limited. You have taken long position in future. In Reliance Industries Limited, you have taken long position in future contract. What is the risk? What is the risk? You increase in price. Yes, increase in price is the profit actually. Risk, I'm talking about risk. Right, Avni. Right. Decrease in price is a risk. So to safeguard against the risk, during this even decrease in price also, you will fulfill your obligation. That's why margin is taken from you. That's why margin is taken from you. Is it clear up to this point? Okay. Now suppose you have taken with this long position in future contract, you have also taken short position in option contract. Short position in option contract. Yeah, you have taken short position in option contract. What is the risk over here? Increase in price. Okay, very good. So now concentrate. In future contract, long position, increase in price was advantage. In short position in option contract, increase in price is risk. Am I right? Am I right? So if you have taken both position at a time, long position in future contract and short position in option contract, can we say your position are hedging position, compensatory position? Can you say your positions are compensatory to each other, complementary to each other, whatever the words you want to use? Yes or no? Right. So in this case, concept of cross margin will apply. Concept of cross margin will apply. It means the amount of margin will be drastically reduced because you have no risk. At one position, the risk is increase in price. At the another position is give the profit when price is increased. So as such, you are not in risk. So there is no point to take higher margin from you. So if these positions are taken by two different person called A and B, suppose A need to pay margin 2000 and B need to pay margin 2000. So if there are two different persons, then the margin amount is 4000. But if both position is taken by one person, then the margin amount may be total 1500. This is known as cross margin, which is also known as cross margining. Is it clear, students? See, cross margin is available across cash and derivative segment. So available on all categories of market participant, means even retail investors can take the advantage of it. So this is all about the cross margin. Position limit and position calculation. Position limit, I have already used the word. What is the position limit for investor? I am talking about F&O, future and option. What is the limit for client? What is the position limit for trading member? And what is the market position limit? These are the three different positions limit in F&O. So trading member wise position limit. First, directly trading members open position is given that any particular trading member, in case of index future, in case of index option, in case of individual securities future and option, what is the limit for any trading member? That is, let us say MSFL, Marwadi Shares and Finance Limited, who is trading member. What is the limit for him? In index future contract, is limit is the equity index future contract is higher of rupees 500 crore or 15% of the open interest. It means any particular trading member cannot hold the position in any particular index future contract of more than 500 crore or 15% of the total open interest, whichever is higher. Is it clear? What is open interest, that you are aware? So means any trading member's open interest in any future contract cannot be more than 15%. Student, is it clear? Now see, even from these norms, even we can say, sir, how trading member will come to know? So that's why trading terminal takes care of these things. As a trading member, we are busy in trading. We are busy in doing the trading for our client. How we will come to know what is the right now current open interest of the market, and we have taken how much position of that open interest? So trading terminal takes care of these things, that any trading member will not cross either 500 crore or 15% of the open interest. 7, see, even same for index option contract, again same norm, 500 crore or 15% of the open interest. For individual security option and future contract, the market wide position limit of rupees 500 crore or more, the combined future and option position limit is 20% of the applicable market wide position limit, or rupees 300 crore, whichever is lower. Means any trading member can take position up to 20% of the open position or rupees 300 crore in any company, in any company's future or option contract. Where these norms will apply? These norms will apply the shares on which the market wide position limit is more than 500 crore. If your shares market wide position limit is less than 500 crore, then 20%, which is as above MS market wide position limit, but instead of 150 crore, it is 50 crore. So this is for trading member. Students, are you getting it? Position limit. How many rupees maximum position one trading member can take? Just 1 minute, student. Okay. Now client level open position. Any individual client like me or Kirtan or Avni, if they want to, what up to what maximum limit any client can take? 1% of the free float market capitalization. Suppose any particular company have 100 crore free float market capitalization. I think you know what is free float market capitalization. We have discussed in third semester also, and we have discussed in first chapter of this NISM module also. Yes or no? Free float market capitalization. Right. So if any company have free float, suppose free float market capitalization 100 crore, then you cannot take in their future and option contract of position more than 1 crore, because it is 1%. So any individual can take position up to 1 crore. Or 5% of the open interest in all advanced derivative contract should not exceed either 1% of the free float market capitalization or 5% of the open interest. Just 1 minute, student. Okay. Same way for students, you can just, these are very simple concepts you can read. For FII and mutual fund, which are the limits in FNO trading? Stock, future and options, which are the limits? Penalties, if clearing members will break or trading member will not fulfill the margin requirement, then which are the norms for penalty? So actually penalty norm, this table is better for understanding the penalty and penal charges. Suppose you are not following the rules first instance, then 0.07% per day. Whatever the amount for which you haven't followed the norms, 0.07% of the amount will be levied as penalty. Second to fifth instance, if you are doing it second time, third time, fourth time, and fifth time, 0.07 percentage per day plus rupees 5,000 per instance from second to fifth instance, 5,000 for each instance. 6 to 10 instance of disablement, 0.07 percentage plus rupees 20. So please, this 20 is 5,000 for second, 5,000 for third, 5,000 for fourth, and 5,000 for fifth. So total 20 plus for second to fifth instance, rupees 10,000 per instance from sixth to 10th instance. So these are the heavy penalties are there, students. Is it clear? And if you are doing it 11th time, then these penalties will be there, plus members will be referred to the disciplinary action committee. Members will be referred to the disciplinary actions committee for continuously breaking the rules of margin. This is about the trading member. Yeah, students, so this is all about clearing and risk management. Any doubt in this chapter? Yeah, clearing and settlement. And settlement includes two things, settlement as well as risk management. So that we have discussed. Now moving toward chapter number 8. Someone please unmute yourself and then mute. I am getting some system voice. Okay, done. Thank you. Student, just give me 1 minute, 1 or 2 minutes. I am coming. Yeah, students, am I audible? Okay. So legal and regulatory environment, chapter number 8. So we all are aware when we have started that when we were discussing first module of the FDRM, at that point of time we have discussed something about it. See, the important norms over here are Security Contract Regulation Act, then SEBI Act, Regulatory Framework for Trading, Clearing and Settlement, and I have specifically used these two words, LC Gupta Committee and JR Verma Committee. Yes or no, when we were discussing first module of FDRM? LC Gupta Committee was formed to develop the regulatory framework for derivative trading. That if we want to start derivative trading in India, this committee is formed in 1996 and they have submitted the report in 1998. LC Gupta Committee. And then JR Verma Committee was formed for developing the risk management mechanism. So let us understand this Security Contract Regulation Act. First of all, over here it is defined the term security. Right? Whenever we call the Security Contract Regulation Act, what is considered as security? Remember, student, one thing, whether I have told to you in advance or not, any act, whether it is Consumer Protection Act, whether it is Contract Act, whether it is any regulation, SEBI Act, RBI Act, any act you will take. As per Indian constitutions, the format of act is Section 1 Preamble, Section 2 Definition. Any definitions required for this act need to be defined in Section 2. So anytime, suppose you need to write the definition of contract in contract, always write. Suppose definition is asked, you can write as per Contract Act Section 2. Suppose you need to define security anywhere, then as per Security Contract Regulation Act Section 2. Is it clear, student? Because all definitions will always be there in Section 2. Any act. We have thousands of acts. And for all thousands of acts, definitions will be in Section 2. Right? Many a time law subject faculty will tell us that if you will write in paper with section number, then it will give the good impact. So this is one of the way to remember the section. So what is security? Then specifically this term derivative in security definition is added in 1999. I hope you remembered module 1 FDRM. Security Contract Regulation Act is amended in 1999. 1999 or 1990, yes, 1999 only, where derivative is included as security. Where derivative is added as security after the recommendations given by LC Gupta Committee in 1998. So this is the addition done, that what includes the derivative. So obviously the types of contract which we are discussing, forward contract, future contract, option contract, call option, put option, these all are included in derivative. So in brief, it is given Security Contract Regulation Act, only the definition of security is given over here, nothing else. Then SEBI, Security and Exchange Board of India, Act 1992. Again, in brief, it is given over here that what are the main functions of that: regulating the business of stock exchange, and any other security market. It means to regulating the regulatory registering and regulating the working stockbrokers, sub brokers, that is like MSFL, like this Sherkhan, all are the stockbrokers. Promoting and regulating self-regulatory organizations, prohibiting fraudulent and unfair trade practices. These are the main objectives of the Security and Exchange Board of India Act 1992. Any broker, before registering with the exchange, they need to get the certificate from SEBI. Promoting and regulating self-regulatory organization. Point number 3 is nothing but the exchanges. Exchanges are the self-regulatory organization. They have their own rules and regulations. So this is SEBI Act 1992. Then regulation in trading. We all are aware, a 24-member committee under the chairman of Dr. L.C. Gupta, and they have submitted the draft for regulating the trading, where these are the recommendations framework. Right, you shouldn't just go through it. We are not discussing it right now in detail. These are the recommendations. Then eligibility criteria. This is again, whenever we talk about MCQ point of view, this is important. Eligibility criteria for membership on FNO segment is given in table A, and table B gives the requirement for professional clearing member. These are the table A. It means if you want to be trading and clearing member, students, remember, if you want to be trading and clearing member, what are the requirements? Clearing member and FNO segment, net worth 100 lakhs. If you want to be the member of wholesale debt market also, 200 lakh. These are the regulatory aspect. Interest-free security deposit 125 lakh, 275 lakh. Collateral security deposit 25 lakh, 25 lakh. Annual subscription fee 1 lakh, 2 lakh. Or if you want to be in capital and FNO, and if you want to be for WDM also, then this is the amount. Student, is it clear this table? Right, so now you might be realizing the word which we are using, broker, MSFL, a broker. But to be a broker, how much investment is required? Just do the summation over here. And this is again for one exchange. Trading member. Trading member is different from exchange to exchange. If you want to be the member of BSE, then this is the fee. If you want to be the member of NSE, then again there are different set of fees. Then additional 25 lakh deposits in this point number 3, 2 and 3. 25 lakh for clearing members. That is self-clearing member, trading cum clearing member. In addition to the clearing member is required to have interest-free security deposit of rupees 2 lakh and 8 lakhs of collateral security deposits for each trading member they will add, because this trading cum clearing member can add the other trading member for clearing. So once they will add the other trading member for clearing, they need to deposit the extra 2 lakh and 8 lakh. 2 lakh interest-free security deposit and 8 lakh collateral security deposit for each trading member you are adding for clearing. Is it clear, student? Then requirement for professional clearing membership. We have seen that professional clearing members doesn't have trading right. So that's why they are not able to include it in this table, because they are not trader. They have nothing to do with exchange. They are directly associated with clearing corporation. That's why the norms are different from that. Net worth, interest-free security deposit, collateral security deposit, and annual subscription. This will apply to them. As many as trading member they will add for clearing, they need to deposit 2 lakh and 8 lakh interest-free security deposit and collateral security deposit respectively for adding extra members, extra trading member for clearing, because professional clearing members work is to do clearing, not to do trading. They are not broker. We have already discussed and defined what is PCM. Generally, banks are working as PCM. Students, clear up to this point? Okay, now this term coming, liquid assets. So what is for depositing this? Suppose let they over here also net worth, interest-free security deposit, collateral security deposit, same way over here. What is included in that? So over here it defined what is considered as liquid assets. Clearing member is required to provide liquid assets which adequately cover various margin and liquid net worth requirements. He may deposit liquid assets in form of cash, bank guarantee, fixed deposit receipt, approved securities, and any other form of collateral as may be prescribed. So the term coming liquid assets, right, out of this net worth and deposit also, some assets must be liquid. That is, see over here, at least 50%. The total liquid assets comprises of at least 50% of cash component and rest in non-cash component. So what is cash component? Cash, bank FD, bank guarantee, unit of money market mutual fund. Money market mutual fund schemes are such schemes which convert, which are liquid in nature. You can anytime convert that scheme amount into cash, and government securities and T-bills. So these are considered as cash component. Means if you have any of such thing, this is equivalent to cash. Non-cash, Group A equity shares. Group A is defined on the basis of Group A. There are 3 groups actually, Group 1, Group 2 and Group 3. So this Group 1, Group 2 and Group 3 are decided on the basis of the liquidity. If the shares are highly traded, then it is falling in Group 1 depending on their impact factor. Their impact factor must be below certain limit. In detailing is given in NCFM module. In detailing about this is given in NCFM module. We are discussing NISM module because I am also teaching NCFM module to BBFM students. So I am aware that all these securities are divided into 2 groups. Group 1, Group 2 and Group 3 depending on their liquidity. So high liquid shares are considered as non-cash components. Mutual fund units other than cash component, means other than this money market, are considered. What is the responsibilities of the clearing corporation? These are the responsibilities: collecting margin. Clearing corporation means NSCCL. Smooth operation means there is no default. Clearing and settlement. Legal counterparty, which we call we are buyer, then exchange is the seller. Actually, exchange is not seller. Clearing corporation is the legal counterparty. If we are buyer, then clearing corporation is the seller. And as clearing corporations cannot reach to us, so they are appointing clearing members. They are doing on our behalf. Monitor the position in derivative and cash segment. Deciding daily settlement price, weightage average, as Onesme has said. Consistent record of margins and at client level. Take care not a appropriate client margin against brokers due. So these are the, we can say, responsibilities of the clearing corporations. And these last 2 points, major recommendations given by LC Gupta committee. See, there is a huge list, and major recommendations given by JR Verma committee. What you have to remember over here is LC Gupta committee is formed to develop regulatory framework for derivative trading, and JR Verma committee is formed to develop a risk containment measure if derivative trading is started in India. So read all these points in that line. Just go through it whenever you will get a time. Next Saturday we will again meet with this chapter number 9 and 10. Any question right now you have? Just go through these recommendations by both, and if you have questions any in there, just raise it in the next class. Otherwise, in the next class we will complete our this STTP with chapter number 9, accounting of taxation, and chapter number 10, sales practices and investor protection. Clear, students? I hope all of you have given attendance. If any one of you are pending in giving the attendance, then give it. Okay. Any other? Okay, thank you, class. Now I am closing this meeting.